Hi guys, welcome back to another one of these Amy's Animal Antics. I talked in my first ever video about penguins, as they are a species that I'm quite passionate in, and I've done a lot of research in penguins in general, and I have quite a fond love of penguins. Now I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth in this video about small mammals in general. That is the main species that I've worked with when I have worked with mammals. I haven't really done much in terms of the larger species other than more domestics. Now, in terms of the small mammals that I've worked with, I've done quite a lot of work with meerkats, I've had some beautiful work with armadillos, and I have also been sprayed by a skunk. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those in this video today. So I want to start off with meerkats first. I have had quite a bit of experience working with meerkats. I've worked with them at a zoo that I worked and volunteered at, and I worked at them at a school that I studied at and that I also worked at for a little bit as well. So meerkats are really obviously one of the cutest little species around. They're only around 50 centimeters in length. They are adorable. They can live up to 12 to 14 years in the wild, and obviously in captivity that would be a lot more, without any predators, all the food they could ever want, and with medical care as well. Meerkats are actually unbelievable. A meerkat can run up to around 20 miles an hour, which is around 32 kilometers an hour for anyone that uses kilometers, which is amazing because I doubt I could run at 20 miles an hour. I'm quite lazy. Now, meerkats, when they are in the wild and in captivity, meerkats display a behaviour known as watching. So one meerkat or a few in the family will stand up on their hind legs and be scanning the area around them, which means that they're looking out for predators that are hunting them down. Now, speaking of predators, meerkats use their fur coloration the same as I mentioned penguins doing. So they have the different colorations on their body, help them blend into the desert areas in Africa where they come from. They come from the top of Africa in the deserts around there. Now, in the meerkat world, females are in charge. They are in a matriarchal society, which means that the women in the meerkat families, they always have all the power. They make all the decisions. They are the absolute top. Now, some of my experiences with meerkats, like I said, I've worked at a zoo and I volunteered there as well that have a lot of meerkats. That was my first real experience with meerkats. My sort of second and more extreme example would be that I actually worked for a school or a college that I went to, and they had a load of meerkats. The noise they make is my absolute favourite animal noise of any animal I've ever worked with. Meerkat noises win hands down. They are unbelievably cute and just melt me. So the meerkats that you can see here, I've got a food bowl hanging up for them, and basically I've filled it with little Mario worms and mealworms, which are little bugs that meerkats would naturally eat out in the wild. They dig them up while foraging, and so spend a little bit of time digging around and playing with this bowl, trying to get the food out of it, as you can hear as well, making all those lovely communication noises, sort of squeaking back and forth with each other. This is a wonderful bit of enrichment for them. It will give them something to do for quite a while. They can just sit and play and be themselves, really. Now, I mentioned I wanted to talk about armadillos a little bit. I've only ever worked with one armadillo in my life, and it left a massive imprint on me. They are my favourite terrestrial animal. I have a few different favourite species of animals, and one I will cover in a later video, but on land, armadillos will win for me, hands down. The one that I worked with especially is just the soppiest thing, is very friendly, very cuddly, just wonderful. Now, the only video I've got of an armadillo is this one here, which just shows an armadillo doing what they like to do, which is walk around, forage, have a little bit of a ruffle through the undergrowth, which is where they spend obviously all of their time, being that they're such small little animals. Now, the armadillo that I worked with is not the same as the one in this video here. The armadillo I worked with is a hairy armadillo, and again, wonderful little animals. I've only got these two photos of this armadillo, so that's all I can really show you of the one that I worked with, sadly, but lovely animals nonetheless. Now, Some of the armadillo facts that I wanted to share with you are that they are the only mammal that have the protective armour that is on their back when they roll up into the ball, makes them nice and safe. The species of armadillo called the giant armadillo, they actually sleep around 18 hours a day, which, I mean, if I could sleep about 18 hours a day, I definitely would. Now, the 9-banded armadillo, which is referring to the bands across their backs, is one of the only species of mammals that routinely has quadrupeds, which is 4 babies that are identical, they're twins. So instead of just having 2, they have 4, and it's very, very common for them to be identical babies, which is quite an interesting little fact about them. And my favourite fact about armadillos is that armadillo in Spanish actually translates to little armoured one, which is just unbelievably adorable. So armadillos themselves, like I said, are one of my favourite species of animals that I have sadly not done enough work with, and hopefully in the future I'll be able to fix that and work with them a heck of a lot more. They are wonderful little creatures. Now, the last animal I wanted to talk to you about today isn't really an animal that I've got much in the way of experience with either. It's not an animal that I actually have many sort of facts that I want to share with you either. It's more of a personal tale of my working with this animal. Now, it's a skunk. I've only worked with one skunk in my life, and this was back when I was a student at college, and I was told by my lecturer at the time, told me and 2 friends, that the way to deal with a skunk and to get a skunk to like you is to kill it with kindness. So no actual damage done to the skunk, obviously, go over and make it your friend. This didn't go too well, as you can imagine, and the skunk itself ended up spraying myself, not as badly, but 2 of my friends as well got quite badly sprayed by the skunk. And I can't describe to you the smell. It is the worst smell that I've ever smelled in my entire life. The clothes that I wore still stank for about a week afterwards, even after 2 or 3 washes. And we went, after getting sprayed by this skunk, this lovely skunk of ours, we went to our local village shop to have some food, and we cleared out the shop and ended up having to sit outside because we stank that bad. I never went back in with that skunk. I never did kill it with kindness. I have been led to believe that this does work with skunks. I'm not willing myself to try again because it stank so bad. It wasn't just a smell like on you, it burnt, it stuck in your nose, and it spread. So the location of the animal unit that I was studying at was at the very bottom of the school, and you could smell it at the other end. It was just potent, was the only way to think about it. And if I was a predator trying to eat that skunk and something sprayed me with that, it would 100% put me off. So I can see why that it is a defense mechanism for the animal, but I cannot recommend it. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. I got, just like I said, it just burned. It was just horrendous. It would, if you thought you got rid of the smell, you would then take another whiff of your jumper or you'd catch it in the air, and it would just stink. It was horrendous. But that is my little video for you today. I've talked about, obviously, meerkats, skunks and armadillos, done all 3 of them, gone into a little bit of detail about my experiences with them. Maybe not so much good ones, but I've gone into that a little bit for you. I do want to say thank you so much to anyone that is watching this. I do really, really appreciate it. Please do stay safe in these really weird times. It's a creepy, scary place that we're living in at the moment. So please do look after each other, stay home, stay safe and all that. And I will try and put up some more videos soon. If there's anything that I haven't worked with that you'd like me to talk about, if you mention it, I will happily do the research and try and find the information about that myself. But like I said, thank you so very much for watching. It does mean the world to me. And yes, please do just stay safe and look after each other in these weird times. Thank you.